Hello, dear friends, and welcome to our podcast dedicated to sight reading through the lens of historically informed performance practice. And today we have a special episode. We are in Münchenstein.
We've changed locations.
Yes.
In the Saal here.
And today we are interviewing people from the group
Compagnia la BALDRACCA, which we'll hear about the name later.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting group, and there will be an exciting concert. One of the operas by
But the intermezzi.
Yes, the comical
intermezzi of a very serious opera, apparently.
And
so we'll be hearing
yes.
who we'll be talking to today.
We are talking to Thomas Höft, Michael Hell, and Adrian Schvarzstein.
Great.
So, my name is Michael Hell. I live in Austria. I'm German from origin. I'm harpsichordist, recorder player, and the musical director of Il Ciarlatano.
Very nice. And what are you doing here in Basel?
So, we are playing this wonderful little intermezzo by Pergolesi that was basically composed as an intermezzo for a very big opera seria of Pergolesi, Adriano and Siria. That was a total flop at that time, as most of the opera seria by Pergolesi were. But the intermezzi of this opera, so the little pieces, the comic pieces that were played in the intervals between the acts, they were huge successes, and that made them spread all over Europe, so they were played in every country. Of course, then each time when you replayed it, you had to change the text, translate it, so that you could have local jokes in it.
Local jokes?
Of course. So in a French version, of course, you have to have French jokes. Even there's, I think, of this first libretto, there was a new version by Metastasio, who did it then for Venice. So in Venice, the people did like other jokes than the people in Naples, where the opera was originally composed. So,
do you have some of the jokes in mind now?
The thing is, for us today, we don't understand this Baroque humor. It's political humor. There are allusions to certain people. We don't understand them today, and that made us change the opera a little bit.
There's much more. What's very important to know, there are a few books with jokes surviving earlier times. One of the most famous is the joke book of Kilian Brustfleck, who was the comedian on the court of the Counts of Eggenberg and Graz. It's surviving, and it's not funny at all. Why? Especially why? These jokes are, we would say, discriminating. These people are laughing about or over disabled people, people with problems, mentally challenged people. If we see this today, we feel totally ashamed that their jokes were so putting someone into a wet bed or throwing things at him, and if he can't walk, he was a cripple, and they laugh about, oh, look at this ugly man, he cannot really go. So these jokes are for us really bad. This humor is discriminating, and some of this very early. But, and then we come to the Pergolesis, the Neapolitan jokes. They come from a tradition of commedia dell'arte. And this is much more important, that they are not as discriminating. They are, but also on another kind of level. And Adrian Schvarzstein, our director, he is an expert in commedia dell'arte and these traditions of joke and fun. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about this.
The most important is to understand that the basic of commedia dell'arte jokes are not verbal, are physical. What we call lazzi is made of what we call today slapstick, or what you see a lot in the beginning of 20th century silent films. So this is the kind of commedia dell'arte jokes. And of course in the music, many times in all these opera buffas, there is music, there is instrumental introduction of arias, etc., that they mean something.
One has the feeling that one is directly in a cartoon, basically. So the elements that were used in a Tom and Jerry cartoon musically are basically the same as in a comic opera.
What are those elements?
So you can hear a person approaching with for example, and you understand it in the music what it means immediately.
Yes.
Thomas, you are introduced in the program as a Schauspieler. What are you exactly doing in this show?
So, we are all together La Compagnia BALDRACCA. And La Compagnia BALDRACCA is a ruined Italian opera company. We are trying to bring on stage the famous opera seria Adriano in Syria. But we are run out of money. So most of the orchestra is gone, most of the singers are gone.
The coro
gone. So, and Adrian is the impresario, and I am the costume dresser. I'm responsible for all the costumes and all the stuff and things. So, because they are all gone, it will be no Adriano in Syria, but this we will discover in the show. In the show, we are promising something, the huge opera seria, and Adrian comes and said, he is the general director. And he said, oh, we have elephants, choirs, big orchestra, crocodili, rinoceronti, everything, and there's nothing. Nothing except two poor singers, little orchestra, and crazy people like me who has to appear the cook, and they have to appear also on the show. The cook has to do all the percussions, playing the fagotto, and me, I am forced to be Fulvia, the friend, the female friend of Livietta, trying to catch Tracolla, and this developed. But we are coming as a bankrupt Italian opera company. This is the idea. This is transporting everything into a kind of today, the costumes and the opera, and so it's more in the 50s. We can think about maybe an Italian company in the 50s.
Very much close to this 50, 60 Italian films, Alberto Sordi, also this humor, a lot of physical humor. Very well-known Italian film. So this is Italian opera with the Italian text, Italian music, Italian jokes, and all this Italian ambient that we try to sell. And also it's like a little bit a cliché, okay, with the mafia and all the things. We like to make that the people can recognize and laugh about.
Thomas, I read on your website that you also work as a curator. And so my question is, what was your curatorial work in this show? Was it challenging? What were your curatorial tasks to perform?
The idea comes for the Utrecht Festival of Early Music, which is very well known, very huge. And I was the co-curator of the edition in 2019, and the theme is Napoli. So for me, my task was to find things connected to Napoli, Neapolitan style, and this we have. So Pergolesi, we talked about what can we do, what can we offer in this festival. And Xavier van Damme, who is the artistic director, asked me what you want to do. And we thought, okay, we have two possibilities. One very, very serious one, it's Scarlatti,
Agare d'Ismaele e Sigliatti.
an oratory, very, very, very complex, beautiful, but very sad, very sad. And it's about the story of what we can do with Christian, but also with a Muslim or a Jewish background. Also very, very very interesting from a today's perspective. Or we can do something very funny, like a Pergolesi fun. And then he said, oh, let's do both. And so we started. I go to Napoli, and I went to visit beautiful people like Federica Castaldo, who is in charge for the early music institution La Pietà dei Turchini, and this is the early music research center of Napoli. And we talked a lot about this Neapolitan comedies, how this acting was. The singers were actors and actors were singers. It was very different from today's, this separation in acting and singing. They are singing actors or acting singers, both. And I saw, and Adrian introduced me to, this tradition of the guaratelle. And this was very, very interesting. Please, maybe you can explain what this is.
The guaratelle is the ancient tradition of puppet theater with Pulcinella as the main character, and it's basically laughing and about the power, about the statement, and to, like in the commedia dell'arte also, and what we need in comedy and what we need in a society that is somehow very structured, like on those times with the king and the nobility and the different castas, no, is to put upside down. And this the guaratelle is doing. Of course, look like a childy puppet theater show, but is a lot more. And of course, this statement is not only the king, etc. It's also the church, and for sure the dead. Is always dead there. That is always coming. We know it's very Baroque. No, this we are fugit mundi, no? And then we have to laugh. It's another approach.
And there is a famous man.
Yeah, and probably one of the most famous performers is Bruno Leone. And he's really the one that is keeping this, La Casa di Pulcinella is keeping this tradition and teaching this in order that don't disappear, because it's really something so. And this is together with the typical beautiful Napolitan music that is very old. We play here some of these pieces that are absolutely old. The Tarantella Gargano is from the 17th century, we know from, but probably is earlier. And it's the traditional popular music that somehow was put on the side, and thanks to people like Bruno Leone and others, is back, or at least it's not disappearing.
And this is curating. Searching for it, talking, finding the people, and bring them in. So we have a fantastic guaratelle show then in Utrecht. We met Cristina Donadio, a fantastic actress who is in Gomorrah, this mafia series, one of the famous characters. She was here with us, with Olga Paschenko. We made 5 shows with Cristina telling Neapolitan stories, and Olga playing music to this, and I was moderating discussions about what is this, and we discovered, and this that your listeners do not mistaken, the written jokes are very bad of the earlier times, but this Neapolitan jokes, they are not discriminating. They are the opposite, as Adrian told you. The Guaratelle is against power, against the people who have power or the forces to have power. And Livietta e Tracolo is about female power, and this is also very, very important. We have the opera seria where minor characters as the servants are more or less ridiculous. In the Monteverdi operas, they are stupid, we can laugh, and this is a little bit shaming. Here, we have the opposite. Livietta is a simple person, it's a villageoise, it's a girl from the countryside. But she is the winner. She is totally intelligent. She really turns everything into the right thing. And we don't laugh about her because she maybe is stupid. No, it's not. She's not stupid. The guys are stupid. And she turns the world upside down. And this is what I love, to have an early piece with female power. It's in a way feministic. And I like this a lot. And this we can take and we can do and we can bring on stage without being ashamed or without being to have to hide or to really explain something that it has to be changed. No, it's very, very, it works today. You will see, or you will hear, everybody who sees it can see that's about also, it's the same as us. They are not different.
Yeah, that seems like a very modern approach, and also it's close to everybody, every human being.
It's not a modern approach. This is the error we think, that our modern approach is modernized and making abstract. It's absolutely what Pergolesi wanted to say.
How do we know that?
Because it's in the text and it's in the music.
Well, what I meant, I'm sorry, just 1 second. What I meant is that all these emotions and feelings we experience also now, that are in the opera. That's why it makes it closer to the audience. Yeah. That's why people like it.
Yes, this of course.
And this is also one of the reasons that we decided to replace a lot of the very long recits with folk melodies from Naples, because we need the story to be understood by everybody. Also a person who is not able to understand a single word of Italian, the arias, they tell the emotions so clearly, because the music is composed in that way. But in the recits, we would have to understand the text. And now we try to find a way to show what is happening in the story with action and with music that is there, Naples music from Naples. But Adrian is a specialist also in theater that doesn't need words. And then we understand the complete story from the beginning to the end, and we don't need to understand Italian for that, because here we have a Swiss public,
yes.
In Utrecht we had a Dutch public.
Yes. So if we were in former times, of course they would have made it new. If they want to have Pagolesi, of course they have new written German recits or spoken French text. They would have adapted this. So for me, and this is my cue is, and it's very important, this is performance praxis. This is historical performance praxis. It's not to make every recit as we may have found in a manuscript. We're thinking about, are these accords right or not? This is not performance praxis at all. We have...
This is archaeology. This is archaeology,
yes,
and it's very interesting in a museum.
Yeah.
But then in a museum, it's like this.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, we want that it's touch.
Yes.
And you say emotion today.
And that's performance praxis to accept that we need a surrounding, that the atmosphere and especially context is very, very important to have performance praxis. If we put things out of its context, even if maybe the instruments are right, maybe the tuning is right, maybe they sing in a way would not exist anymore, but maybe they sing in a way what is historic. It's gone. If you miss out the context, then it's not alive, and this is not what we want to do.
Great. Wow, it seems like a very interesting combination of people doing this show.
Maybe 13 years ago, when Ciarlatano Festival, I am until now the dramaturge of Ciarlatano Festival, but this was in times where Nicolas Hanencourt was running it, and I was the dramaturge of Nicolas Hanencourt. And I was asked to organize an open-air performance with Monteverdi's 8th book of madrigals as a comic open-air show. And the director of the festival, Mathis Huber, has seen a very, very comic guy in a street theater show named Adrian Schvarzstein. And he told me this maybe is the right guy to do it, and maybe we are really fitting together very well. And the musical director should be Anthony Rulli. And so we thought maybe we will go and we will meet each other at the Schola in Basel. So we made an appointment and we meet in the center of Basel, in the town. And there was Adrian and me, and Tony wasn't there because he was in the Schola teaching. So we met in front, and I said, "Hi, hello, Adrian, I'm Thomas." "Hi, hello, Thomas. I have a question, Thomas. Do you know how to stop trams?" I think, what? No, maybe I go where they are stopping and then I go in. Oh no, it's totally wrong. I show you. There was then this green Basel tram coming, and he, from nothing, jumped on the street in front of the approaching tram. There was not a tram stop, running, jumping on where the tram, like, he jumps on and he embraces the tram, giving the driver, who was phoning the police in the meantime, a kiss through the window. Mwah! Jumps down, comes back on the trottoir and said to me, "This is how you stop trams." And I think, from this second, I love this guy. It's the most craziest person I ever met, the most talented, because he really know how to do physical, but radical in his approach.
Very nice.
I have also a story with Adrian, of course. So Thomas and Adrian were already working together. I hadn't met Adrian yet, but I was playing in Thomas Festival in Köln at that time, another project. And I was going to the show to finally meet this famous Adrian guy that I heard so much about. So I was sitting in the show. It was the staged version of Le Carnaval des Animaux by Saint-Saëns. It was wonderful. It was about an hour, something like that. And I had been laughing for 40 minutes without a stop. And then I was exhausted. I was really exhausted. And I was in the middle of the public, so I think 5th or 6th row. And I dared to yawn. And in this moment, I felt a piece of sausage at my head because there was a picnic scene on the stage, and Adrian saw me yawning, and the moment he saw me yawning, he tried to throw this piece of sausage into my mouth. He succeeded fairly well. This was my first contact with him, and of course I fell in love with him.
Wonderful, wonderful story. another question. I'm studying curating at the Musikhochschule here in Basel. Yeah, I'm a traverso player. I graduated from the Schola Cantorum this year. Now I'm studying curating. So for me, the question is, you said before that you're a dramaturge and also a curator. So what is the difference between those two terms?
A dramaturg has a real responsibility to put everything together that it really fits in a way of thinking, introducing the audience in your thoughts, think about what really we need, what we can put together, what make really a sense, and put on a philosophy, gave everything the right ideas, that it really is, in a way, theoretically, 100% wonderful and good. As a curator, you have to be responsible also not only to the art and the audience and the ideas, but to think and being responsible for everything else, like where we are, in which place we will do it, what are the restrictions and the possibility in this place. And it's a little bit, in a way, it's opposite. It's good when it comes together, because the curator says, okay, yes, it was good to throw sausages, and maybe it's totally true, but in this country, it would be totally wrong even to bring a sausage near to throw it to people. And we are responsible in a way for the people who invited us and what their surrounding is, what their ideas are. And we have really to take this also in thinking, and the whole thing where you are taking a festival. Maybe it's very logical that we do all this, but the show is 80 minutes and it's not going well because you don't have 80 minutes. People are used to have 5 concerts a day like in Utrecht, and they have to go after 60, at least 70 with applause. So how to manage that this is in the right timing and it fits to everything else, and to have the bigger overview from the outside. So I think the curating is a little bit outside, looking from outside to the art, and the dramaturgy is to be in the art and looking out. And this putting together makes it perfect. So you have to be a dramaturg and a curator. Mostly it's good if you're both, or if you much better if you have help, if you're two. If there's another 2 eyes and another sense of doing it.
I have a question for Mikael, maybe. I have 2 questions, but I have one. How do you play comedy in music?
You play comedy in music? That's a good question. It's all about timing, always. How do you make it come really alive? How do you transform a rhythm that can always only be hinting at the real emotion? How do you play it in a way that it gets the movement? It's about movement and timing.
And physicality.
Yeah, also. Yeah, you have to feel it in your body, and you have, in fact, for me it's the most important never to play the notes, but to play the emotion. And to forget, because what I think we can practice a lot as a group. A lot to play the same piano, the same staccato, the same crescendo, so that we are really together. But in the end, when there's a show, one is perhaps a little bit nervous, suddenly it all falls apart. But if we play these different personalities, everybody has its own personality, but if we all feel the same emotion and play it, then I will have different shades of happiness, for example. And this is wonderful, because then I can look at everybody and I will see the right emotion. And I will forget if it's together or not. It's not important anymore.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That was fun.
Bravo.